about technology and romance on Kababayan LA. Is there a proper balance? But you know what? Also another thing that's advantageous is, I guess, online and the advent of online dating. A lot of people have met their spouses online. You're one of them, dear Mrs. D. And yes, but you know, it's also very dangerous because I guess the anonymity of it all, you can hide behind a computer. So I guess there are predators. It's a playground for different kinds of people. And the problem is when people don't tell the truth. And you have some experiences, Marilyn.
Well, I think telling the truth, you know, it used to be considered rude to ask a woman her age. But online, you have to put your age out there for everyone to see. So there are lies that people tell. And some of them I call fudging. You know, if a person wants to fudge their age a little,
right.
You know what they say, 40 is the new 20 and 50 is the new 30.
Right.
But, you know, if you have to fudge a few years because you look much younger, I think that's okay.
And photos, too. Come on. Some people post photos from, like, 10 years ago.
True. And what you must do, I think, is put a photo that represents you as you are today, because they're going to meet you, they're going to see. But if you have to fudge a little on your age. But people lie about other things, too.
Like what?
Well, women, they say about their age, about their weight. Men, particularly, not only about their age, but about their height, about what they do for a living,
and
how much they make.
Their income, yes.
And the funny thing is, I mean, here a client told me this man told her he was 55 and that he wanted a wife because he wanted someone to move into his big house and have social gatherings and have musicals and have dinner parties, and it sounded really great.
Right.
Then she met him. Okay, he wasn't 55, he was 80, but that wasn't the worst part. He did have a big house, but what he failed to say was that he had 5 students living in it, and the dinner parties was that they were going to cook dinner for the students.
Oh,
so it was like he wanted her to be a frat mom.
Right. No, but
so
also
that's a lie. You know, even though it's true, he like fudged what might really be important
but
to
also
someone.
at the same time, some people can look very good on paper, even if they're not lying. It's still very good on paper, but then in person, it's just, which begs the question, sometimes, you know, if you're that good online, how come you're still single, and how come you're here looking?
Well, I think there are good people online, for sure. But another friend who is a very nice guy, he said he was a lawyer, and he was an engineer, and he had 3 children, and yada, yada, yada. Well, it turns out he had a law degree, and he had an engineering degree, but he hadn't worked in years.
Oh,
he was living out of his car, and he was happy doing it. But and his kids didn't talk to him.
And
but if you read what he said online, and he happens to be very good looking, too, so a lot of women wanted him.
Good writers have a way with words, and dear Mrs. D, you have thoughts on that? Like, you know, being truthful, and how to figure out, like, who's lying online.
You have to be truthful. That's the most important thing, because as Marilyn said, ultimately you're going to meet that person face to face, and they will know the truth. But that's one of the reasons that I say you want to keep the online exchange very short, so that you can actually see if that person is 80 instead of 55 when you meet face to face.
Right. So the first one is, in order to protect yourself, and this is a point from dear Mrs. D, meet in public. Obviously, it's
you know, it sounds like it's common sense, but I've had clients that they get comfortable with the guy. They've been talking to him for a couple weeks on the phone, and they think it'll be okay. He can just pick me up. And you know, sometimes it will be okay, but one time maybe it won't be, so you want to stay safe.
Right. I have a follow-up question to that. I know that online dating sites are being marketed as, you know, a place where you find your match for life, right? But the thing is that how many of those, or what percentage of those people there are just looking for casual encounters? Is that possible?
Well, I couldn't really give you that statistic, but I can say that 1 in 5 marriages now do begin with an online dating site. So obviously they're doing something right, and that's the direction.
And I think online dating is great. I really do. But you can tell also when you talk to people, like I've heard so many instances, like one of my male clients will say to me, dating clients, not other clients.
Right.
He'll say that he has a woman online and she wants to cook dinner for him at her house.
Okay.
And I say that's wrong on both counts. I said any woman who invites a stranger to her house for dinner
is
either not smart or she's desperate. Because you have to meet him out. And for a guy to want to meet a woman who wants to cook right away, he has to realize that she's probably not a savvy or a gorgeous woman, whatever, because any smart woman of today will never just invite a stranger to her
Self-respecting
house.
woman, yes.
Exactly.
Great idea for later down the road.
Yes, another tip from dear Mrs. D is you have to tell someone. So if you're going out to meet somebody you met online,
You want someone else to know where you're going to be and all the information
and
that
who
you
this
have
guy
about-
is,
Yeah.
right? Yes.
Just in case. And, I say this, I think online dating is perfectly safe. It's certainly safer than meeting somebody that you don't know in a bar. And I know a lot of people make relationships that way. But this is much safer. You have a site that has all of their information. And, if you're meeting in a public place, there's little
you don't
chance
know.
that something's going to go wrong.
Right. Okay, another tip is trust your gut. How much do you do this? I mean, what if you don't trust your gut? What if, I don't know, what if your gut has failed you in the past?
Well,
How do you trust your gut?
It's just that, that animal instinct, the intuition that tells you fight or flight. And if something is telling you that maybe this guy's not quite right, you really need to listen to that.
All right. And thank goodness for Google, because now you can Google the guy. But what if you don't find information? What if the guy's not on Facebook?
Well, that could be a red flag. If everybody these days has a digital footprint.
Okay.
So if you aren't leaving that digital trail of who you are, then maybe you're lying about who you are, or, maybe there's something else that would make you not a great fit for a
So
relationship.
Facebook, LinkedIn.
Well, I also think, the internet is really a great way to meet people, because you don't have to rely on fate to put you at the same place at the same time and turn in the same direction. But you got to use your intuition. You got to use your head. You got to be smart. But what I'm looking for, what I don't often find online is, the pitter-patter, the excitement. And the problem is sometimes you miss out on that initial cute meet when you first meet somebody. So I would say, how do you get that excitement back in when it is so planned? That's a question that a lot of people ask me.
I like that. Yeah, good question. Yes.
I think that's one of the reasons that you have to get to that first date very quickly, and you have to kind of control the first meetings. Like one of my clients, one of my clients asked me about Skyping on the first date. Or Skyping in that first
No.
rather than a phone call.
Right.
And I said,
So
I want to make sure that he's like the guy that he says he is.
Right.
But to me, you're not going to get dressed up for a Skype date the same way
you
you
might
will
not
in
look
person.
as
They're also
well.
going to see from here up to it's just
And-
basically the neck and the head.
Although I do
And
have a client that-
don't they say you always look 10 pounds heavier?
on Skype.
I do have a client though that met a guy who she lives in Seattle, he lives in Miami,
And they Skype.
and they Skype dated, and now they're getting married.
Yeah.
Oh,
If
that
you
is
live
interesting.
far away, I think
Yes,
it
but
would
the
make
thing
it
is,
more
okay,
sense.
so now there are online dating trends because it's so popular, like you said, 1 in 5 marriages are results of online dating. So now there are trends. Location-based, you mentioned earlier about your client, one location to the other. We're going to be talking about that some more when we return on the show. Don't go away.